Is 12 News on 12 Plus. It's 7 a.m. on Election Day. Arizona polls opened just 1 hour ago. This is the last day to vote. 12 News' dedicated team of journalists are live across the state covering the most competitive races.
And those deciding seats fall in 4 very competitive swing districts, all of those right here in Maricopa County.
Reactions from candidates, voter turnout, and more exclusive coverage. Keep it right here on 12 Plus, the streaming home of 12 News. Arizona Decision 2024 continues now.
Thank you for joining us for a special extended edition of 12 News Today in AZ right here on 12 Plus. I'm Emily Pritchard.
I'm Allison Rodriguez. Our 2024 Election Day coverage continues now. As more than 200 polling places across the valley, they are now officially open. America looking to our battleground state to decide on the presidential pick. So we have been checking in different polling places, including in Scottsdale, also in the West Valley and Tullison as well. Just want to remind you, those polls did open at 6 a.m. They will close tonight at 7 o'clock. Have to be in line by 7, but make sure you stay in line and you can have your voice heard.
We know every vote matters here, and this is a big election. Elections officials are expecting more than 2.1 million votes to be cast right here in Maricopa County. In an effort to run a smooth election, the county has increased staffing. They say they've also beefed up security and their equipment.
That's right. This morning, 12 News journalist Jen Wall, she's live from the Maricopa County Tabulation Center with more on what we can expect on this election day. Do we have Jen right now? Yes, we do. Jen, what can we expect?
Hey, good morning to you guys. Okay, this is one of the busiest spots in Maricopa County where all of your ballots are tabulated, counted, and I'm going to scoot out of the way so you can take a live look. Polls open for a little more than an hour now, and there is a lot happening inside of this building. We have Maricopa County Sheriff's Office outside, and then folks have been driving in through the security gates to drop off their ballots because this is also one of those locations where you can do that. So Maricopa County leaders say they processed ballots of about 1.2 million early voters as of yesterday, and we're expecting more updates today. Breaking down the numbers, take a look. Maricopa County says more than 1.5 million early ballots have been received. More than 1.3 million of those have been returned via USPS and Dropbox, and more than 178,000 are from early in-person check-ins. Maricopa County officials say it could take 10 to 13 days to count all of the ballots because they want to make sure it's a secure and accurate process. Additionally, there's of course high interest in this election, and the ballot is 2 pages, so that's pretty long. There are 159 bipartisan teams of workers verifying signatures of those ballot packets, and voting centers expecting high turnout will have as many as 68 voting booths to accommodate demand. Now, because of a new Arizona law, poll workers must count voting packets at each voting center before transferring them for tabulation. That's expected to slow down the transportation of ballot and memory cards to the county's central hub tonight. Now, while the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is increasing security, county leaders are pushing voter transparency and combating misinformation.
We don't have any tolerance for any criminal activity.
We know that, again, there are people out there who are raising questions, and we have no problem with questions, obviously, as you guys have seen.
Okay, a really busy election here, so Maricopa County is calling for more elections workers. It's specifically for third shift every night this week. Take a look, information on your screen right now. Those hours are from midnight to 6 a.m. and pay is $16 an hour. You need to be a current MRC volunteer and a registered voter. And you can track the status of your ballot at beballotready.vote if you want to know how things are looking with that. And if you have any general elections questions, you can also go to maricopa.vote. They have a ton of information right there. Finally, there is a press conference and update from Maricopa County elections officials. That's expected at 11 o'clock this morning, so we will be live in the tabulation center. We're going to get information on that, and we will bring it to you live throughout the day, 12news.com, 12 Plus, and right here during our 1 p.m. show. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Jen Wall, 12 News Today, Daisy.
Thank you, Jen. And as we continue our Election Day coverage here on 12 News, the first county and statewide election results will be released to the public, as Jen mentioned, just after 8 o'clock tonight. Maricopa County elections officials say the first batch of results will include an estimated 1.2 million early ballots. That's about 3/4 of the county's early ballots received. Right now, Republican voters account for 40% of all early ballots in Maricopa County. Democratic voters account for 32%. County officials say a majority of those ballots will be counted by tomorrow. Of course, your Decision 2024 coverage continues, but first, a check of your weather impact.
All right, today we've got absolutely tremendous conditions. Nice clear skies. It is cool this morning. We've got 51 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover lingering off in the distance. Winds out of the southeast at about 5 miles an hour. But we are warming up to the comfort zone. Enjoy this. Highs today in the upper 60s and low 70s. I've got 72 in Queen Creek, 74 in Goodyear, and our official high Phoenix, about 75 degrees. Now winds, this starts to get a little interesting. By tomorrow at about 4 o'clock in the late afternoon, early evening, we're starting to see a little bit of a wind response. Lots of wind settling in the higher elevations. Certainly a sign that something is on the move. Follow along. Futurecast shows the jet stream is bringing down a little bit of action tomorrow. I'm not looking for rain for you and me, but certainly this is going to be a snowmaker. And as it gets closer, that pressure is going to tighten up. And yes, we've got some wind to talk about. So coming up, clear, sunny and mild today, breezy tomorrow. But look at this. There's a freeze watch for portions of Arizona. I'll show you where and when. Coming up, my full forecast. Lauren.
Thank you. 708 West Valley drivers. It's been a headache all morning long. A series of crashes. Lanes have reopened at Litchfield Road, I-10 eastbound. That HOV lane, that far HOV lane does remain blocked, but everybody is now slowly pressing on forward. It is still about a mile worth of backup once you get past that 303 in the far West Valley. Further down the line here on the 10, additional crashes combined with your typical traffic that's building. I-10-17 stack, a lot of delays there. Southbound 17 slowing and major slowing along the northbound lanes of the 17. Crash there at Glendale Avenue is blocking that HOV lane and causing some major slowing along those northbound lanes. So it's still going to take you close to a half an hour going from the 303 to the 101 in the West Valley. 101 to the 17, a little bit more than 20 minutes. East Valley drivers looking great here. Your usual drive times, 10 or less from the 101 to the mini stack. Gilbert Road to the 101, a little bit more than 5 minutes, and no more than 15 from Power Road to Arizona Avenue.
Well, many polls show this is one of the closest presidential contests in modern history. Election officials have all been getting ready for today, making sure the polling places are ready to go. That includes in some of the smallest and most remote polling sites in the state. Now, last election, you may recall President Joe Biden won Arizona by just more than 10,000 votes. According to the AP, there was a surge of voter turnout in 2020 on tribal land. We have roughly 300,000 Native Americans living here in Arizona. This election cycle, several political candidates have focused on our tribal nations, traveling to remote areas to make sure every vote and every voice is heard.
And as voters are heading to the polls right now, we saw some voters lined up early this morning at those polling locations. Even before they opened at 6 o'clock this morning, election officials have been getting ready for this election, we know, making sure those polling places are ready. And that includes some of the smallest and most remote polling locations across our entire state.
So 12 News journalist Justin Pizzera actually went to one of these places we're talking about. It's on the Tohono O'odham Nation. Justin, you went there, and what's so interesting is that when you talk about how many tribal communities and Native Americans we have living in Arizona, and then how razor thin these races are, it is so important for places like this to vote.
Yeah, you know, Allison, we always do hear that saying every vote counts, and that really goes to show in this story because this community that's just south of the valley is just a handful of voters, so they really do matter when it comes to these razor-thin elections. Let's show you some video of this very tiny village here. It is the Gaka community in Maricopa County. The county has spent a lot of time and a lot of money making sure that this single-room voting center in the community is up and working. They bring in satellites and internet and all of the voting equipment just to make sure that these 40-something people can vote. Community members have been out there educating folks because they really understand the importance of voting in tribal elections. They also needed to know the importance of voting in local and federal elections as well.
Thank you, Justin. We appreciate you sharing those details with us. Right now, we're taking you live inside of the Maricopa County Tabulation Center, where you can see ballots are being processed right now. Quite a few people in their seats ready to do all of this important work. With the polls now open, of course, we're looking live inside as they are processing those early and mail-in ballots. According to Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer, nearly 100 people are working on ballot processing at all hours of the day. And as we continue our Decision 2024 coverage, the group of elected officials who decide your electricity rates face the potential of a major overhaul this election season. 3 of the 5 seats are going vacant at the Arizona Corporation Commission.
Yeah, really interesting. So 12 News journalist Joe Dana tells us what to know about the race and why there is a clear divide in the pool of candidates.
Democrats are trying to take majority of the commission in one fell swoop. Meanwhile, Republicans are hoping to maintain control of this very powerful agency. It's no small thing that in the past year, a former chair of the Arizona Corporation Commission, a Republican, has openly questioned whether current Republican commissioners are doing the bidding of for-profit utilities. Bob Burns said their decisions showed a practice that reflects being captured by a utility.
One of the most serious things that can happen is you end up with a captured commission and the protection of the ratepayer goes out the window.
7 key votes by the commission involving rates and fees for APS, Southwest Gas, and Tucson Electric heavily favored what the utilities wanted. The state agency that represents consumers opposed all 7. In this year's APS rate hike, the commission approved for APS 3 times the amount of revenue than what the customer agency RUCO recommended. It's that track record that is a central focus of 2 recent debates, the Republican candidates on one side, the Democrats on the other.
The commission is currently just simply not working for Arizonans.
We as the Republican slate, myself as an existing commissioner, have fought to have affordable utility rates.
That's Republican Leah Marquez Peterson, the incumbent commissioner seeking to return to her seat. She is joined by Mesa School Board member Rachel Walden and former Chandler City Councilman Renee Lopez. They make up the GOP ticket.
The current commission is getting it done. They are cutting back subsidies.
The Democrats are Water District official Elenia Aguilar, ASU aerospace engineer Jonathan Hill, and former Foreign Service officer Joshua Polachek.
Under the current Republican majority on the commission, they have not seen a rate increase that they didn't embrace wholeheartedly.
It is true rates are up. The question is, to what degree were rate hikes necessary? As of this summer, for-profit utilities regulated by the commission are charging 29 to 37% more than a neighboring utility, SRP, which is a nonprofit. Critics say while not a perfect comparison, it shows how for-profit utilities are getting their way.
The most important responsibility is to ensure that we are getting the best deal possible, and that is not what is happening.
Republicans argue the size of the rate hikes are meant to maintain stability for a grid with growing demand.
I know that families are struggling. I'm running to ensure that we continue to have energy reliability.
The state's green energy future will also be shaped by new commissioners. The price of solar technology has dropped more than 90% the last decade. The next commission will decide whether to continue incentives and mandates regarding renewables.
Right now, it is cheaper to be building a clean energy future in our state, but instead we are providing perverse incentives to the utilities.
What we need to make sure is that we're not pigeonholing us into one solution or one path, because that leads us down the road of unintended consequences, and California, here we come.
A key to renewables is battery storage. The commission has resisted or slowed policies encouraging customer-sided battery storage.
Solar doesn't work at night. Wind doesn't always blow. We need other sources of energy in order to provide that energy reliability.
You act like the thousands and thousands of engineers who work on these technologies don't realize that the sun goes down at night. The cost of storage, those technologies are getting much better and much cheaper at a tremendous rate.
You don't have to vote a straight ticket. You can choose a mix of 3 of the 6 candidates. For more on their backgrounds, go to this story right now at 12news.com. Joe Dana, 12 News.
Thank you, Joe. And our Decision 2024 coverage will continue in just a few moments. In the meantime, we turn to breaking news we've been following all morning for you out of South Phoenix. An officer-involved shooting has left a man dead, and a suspect was reportedly trying to break into a home with multiple firearms. This is all information according to police.
Yeah, and 12 News journalist Troy Lynch, he is live in this neighborhood hearing from police as that investigation is still going on. Troy, bring us up to speed. What have you learned?
Alice and Emily, this investigation has been going on all night long, but we're finally getting to see what it looks like during the daytime. This happened right around 19th Ave and Broadway, but you take a look at that corner house, and you can see there's a lot of police and biohazard tape around it. That's where we've seen some detectives doing some work. The Phoenix Police Mobile Command Van has been here as soon as we got here hours and hours ago. And so, yeah, this actually, before it even started, police were called to a South Phoenix neighborhood on reports of an armed suspect trying to break into a home, and we're told that that suspect was reportedly armed with 2 handguns. Now, this happened Monday night around 10. If you take a look at this video, see lots of police activity. Police say originally the 911 caller was able to see the person who was trying to break in with those handguns. When officers arrived, it was just 2. They saw a vehicle matching the suspect's description, tried to pull the car over. However, instead, they say the suspect tried to flee with the car. Now, the car eventually crashed into one of those short brick walls where the suspect then got out, tried to run, pulled out a gun and pointed it towards the officers.
There was a brief foot pursuit with the officers. At one point, the suspect was able to brandish the firearm, and that's when the officer-involved shooting occurred. Once the suspect was down, the fire department was able to respond. However, the man did die on scene.
Now, both Phoenix Police and Phoenix Fire Department tried to perform life-saving measures on the suspect. However, the suspect did die on scene. And now the detectives, they've been working all throughout the night. They did say that they were able to confiscate those 2 handguns that were found near the suspect, but in his car, they also found a rifle. And as you can see, this is still very much an ongoing investigation, but we're going to bring you more details as soon as we get them. But we're live here in South Phoenix. Troy Lynch, 12 News.
Thank you, Troy. It's 7:18. We are getting you to your weather impact on this Tuesday and Election Day. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries joining us now. Ginger, we need the hoodie or jacket, light jacket out there.
Definitely layers are needed this morning. By our measures, these temperatures are on the chilly side. We've got 45 as we speak in Tempe, 51 in Phoenix, 45 in Scottsdale, 49 in Mesa. So very mellow conditions. The skies are abundantly clear, but we're not really seeing numbers warm up to above normal status. Instead, quite the opposite. Look at this. By 11 o'clock, I've got you at 65 degrees. We are going to see the low to mid 70s. Looks like our numbers are going to be about 72 to 75 degrees today. We'll call that just downright beautiful. Winds out of the east today at 5 miles an hour. That's going to keep the skies for the most part clear tonight. I'll call it mostly clear as we drop down to 53 degrees. But tomorrow, numbers continue to cool. I know it's just a couple degrees for you and me, but I think we're going to see substantial cooling in the high country. Look at that, 37 degrees. Remember, the point of freezing, 32. So clearly we've got some cold air draping in, and the wind on the west side of the state, obviously a response from that because that cold front is going to bring in some sub-freezing air. Check this out. National Weather Service issuing a freeze watch for Inyo and Mojave counties through about 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. This is all because of action that's parked up in the northwest tracking our direction. This is not a massive system, but it is going to give us a splash of some saturation in the higher elevations. I think it's just going to be dusting of snow above 6,500 feet. For you and me, by Friday, by Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday in the evening hours, we're looking for some wind speeds upwards of 22 miles an hour, simply because that cold air, yep, it's going to tighten up the pressure. Meantime, that means numbers are coming down. Upper 60s on tap for you for Thursday.
All right, Ginger, thank you so much. At 7:20, we're getting you out on your roads with a check of that morning commute with Lauren Rainson. And Lauren, we have been watching a major issue happening on the 10 eastbound. Is this cleared up at all?
Yeah, it's cleared up. Man, it is still just a very difficult time for the West Valley commuters. Very slow out there eastbound near Estrella Parkway. That right shoulder was blocked due to a crash. Everyone is slowly flowing around the Bay, at least At least we're moving now. So all I-10 eastbound drivers in the West Valley, we no longer have to think about even using those surface streets. Just plan on extra delays. Southbound 17 also very slow. But you see here along the 10 in the West Valley, it's just crash after crash. And traffic is also picking up as it normally does at this time. Durango curve, a lot of slowing there. A lot of slowing in both directions of the 17. That crash at Glendale Avenue is blocking that HOV lane along the northbound lanes.
Lauren, thanks so much. You know, more than 200 polling places across the valley are now open, and Maricopa County makes it super easy for you to check your voting center hours as well as wait times at each polling location. So you find the drop boxes you're looking for to drop off your ballot as well, or you can go and check off here to vote in person. All you have to do is head to beballotready.vote. Once you do that, this map is going to pull up. Now, I've already zoomed in here to this voting center that I wanted to take you to in Scottsdale right now. Look, take a look at this one here. This is the Indian Bend Wash Visitor Center. Wait time is 15 minutes already. They say they've got 25 people in line. But here's the thing. You want to look around here, because if I close this out and head to maybe one of the nearby centers, 0 wait time, no one in line at the Scottsdale Elks Lodge. This other one that's close by, Camelback Christian Church, also no wait time, 0 people in line. So just a heads up if you're in this area, this is a great tool for you. But if you're heading out to the Indian Bend Wash Visitor Center, 25 people in line, and it's a long ballot, so just a heads up. Also, polling locations are going to close at 7 o'clock tonight, Emily.
Thank you, Allison. And remember, if you're in line at 7, stay in line and have your vote heard. And if you're heading out to vote, maybe you're feeling a little intimidated by Maricopa County's 2-page front and back ballot, we have some help for you. There is the 12 News Voter Guide that you can check out before you head to the polls. You can scan that QR code on the bottom left side of your screen, or head to 12news.com/voter guide. There you can get that personalized list of the candidates and measures that will be on your ballot. You can print it out, take it with you to the polls to help you work through it a little bit faster. Head to 12news.com/voter guide. And we want you to know Today in AZ election coverage is continuing exclusively on 12+ again tomorrow. So we hope you'll join us again. We'll be streaming this extended version of our newscast, just like this one, tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. 12 News will also be bringing you a special half-hour show tomorrow at 1 a.m. Oh, yes, we're going to be staying up with you late tonight, or starting our day very early, as those election results are still coming in at 1 a.m. on 12 News.
We have you covered with all of these races. We have extensive coverage on air and online later today. We've got live local coverage from 1 to 5 on 12 News and 12+. Then starting at 7, when the polls are closed, we're going to cover the first local results as they come in live on 12+. Our coverage continues this evening on 12 News at 10.
And we thank you for watching our continuing Election Day coverage right here on 12+.
We will see you in just about a minute on 12 News, where we're going to have another check of your headlines. We will see you there in just a minute.